What's up, kids? Welcome to another fun-filled day of science class. Today we're going to be talking about elements and compounds, but today's kind of a different day. Today I'm going to have my co-presenter, my co-teacher, Mr. Barber. Mr. Barber, where are you at today? Where are you?
Yeah, I'm ready for some science. Let's do this.
Mr. Barber, we're presenting right now. There's no need for goggles or gloves, so do me a favor and lose the goggles and lose the gloves.
All right. Okay, well, what are we talking about then, Mr. Fernandez?
All right, well, like I said, we're going to talk about elements and compounds, but before we get into that, I want to talk about atoms.
Adam. I got a cousin named Adam. I know all about Adam.
Mr. Barber, I'm talking about atoms, spelled A-T-O-M-S.
Oh, atoms. Okay.
All right, well, atoms are the building blocks of everything. They're the building blocks of elements, and it makes up everything. So we need atoms to have elements.
Okay, that makes sense. What's an element again?
All right, well, let's talk about that. And an element is, in its purest form, it is a pure substance, cannot be broken down any further. So let me just look around. Do you have anything around here maybe that
How about this?
you could consider?
I was just about to cook, so I got some aluminum foil.
Exactly. So aluminum is an element. And do me a favor here. So we have one big piece, right?
Yes.
One big piece of aluminum foil, an element. And let's rip it up. Let's rip it in half.
Gladly. What happens if I keep ripping it and I get all the way down to the atom of aluminum?
Well, even if you rip it down where you can't even see it, where it almost looks invisible, it is still an atom. In its most purest form, it is still an element. It is still one atom. Science is amazing.
Wait, I think I got it now. So what you're saying is like elements or metals?
Mr. Barber, that is only one type of element. Yes, so there are three categories of elements. We have metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. So oxygen is an element. Even though you can't see it, it is still an element. It is a pure substance.
But this is an element and I can touch it. I can actually feel it. Why would that be? If you can't touch oxygen, I'm trying right now, nothing.
You're asking fantastic questions. So it breaks down back to the atoms. So when we have solids, the atoms are packed really tightly, really close together, so it's a solid. When it is a nonmetal or a gas, these atoms are kind of floating apart, very separate, kind of far apart. So if they're far apart, these atoms, it's considered a gas or nonmetal. If they're close together, packed tightly, it's a solid.
Ah, that makes sense. Okay, so we have metals and we have nonmetals, right?
Correct.
So, okay, if you're trying to figure out all the elements on Earth and I'm trying to do homework about it,
Yes.
How am I going to figure all that out? There's probably a lot of different elements. I mean,
Absolutely, there's hundreds of elements. So they thought about that. They thought, how confusing is it with all these different types of elements? So they created a periodic table to organize it. All right, Mr. Barber, come on over and let's take a look at that periodic table.
Mr. Fernandez, that sounds like a great idea. I can't wait to see how they organize elements on a periodic table. Let's do this.
All right, behold the periodic table of elements. All right, let's go ahead and try to find aluminum. Aluminum's right here on the periodic table, and notice how it is represented. It's represented by a chemical symbol. A chemical symbol will always have a capital letter. Aluminum is represented by capital A, lowercase l. Let's look at some more other metals that are in the same category as aluminum. We have iron. And notice what iron's chemical symbol is. It's a capital F, lowercase e, because it is using its Latin name for the chemical symbol. We also have nickel, also a metal, capital N, lowercase I. And we have copper, capital C, lowercase u. These are all organized as metals. That's why they're grouped together on the periodic table and color coordinated as green. Let's go and look to the next category of elements. We have metalloids. Notice that there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let's take boron here at the top. This chemical symbol only has one capital letter. So let me remind you, it doesn't always have to be a capital letter and a lowercase letter. Sometimes it's only one capital letter. But the point is, it will always have one capital letter if it is an element. It's pure. It stands alone. All right, so to the right of the metalloids, we have the nonmetals. So these nonmetals is oxygen, helium, neon, any type of non-metal. It could be a gas, but it could also be very brittle. Let's review elements. All right, elements are a pure substance that cannot be broken down any further. So what does pure mean? It means not mixed, it means one of a kind, and it means stands alone.